Have you ever looked at a birthday card and felt a little pang of something not quite right? You know the ones I'm talking about. They've got a rocking chair on the front, some joke about getting older and falling apart, and inside it says something like, "Don't worry at your age, it's all downhill anyway." We're supposed to laugh it off, but sometimes it hits a little too close to home. Because maybe you started to feel it, not a dramatic illness, but a slow, quiet shift. A little less spring in your step, a bit more effort to get through the day, a sense that your body is whispering things you don't quite understand. And the world tells you this is just what happens. It's normal aging. But what if that's not the whole story? What if there's something more going on beneath the surface? Something that most of us, and sometimes even our doctors, are missing. I want you to know that if you felt that way, you are not alone. That frustration, that feeling of your body not quite cooperating like it used to, it's incredibly common, and it's not all in your head. We've been sold this idea that after a certain age, it's just a slow and steady decline, and we should be grateful for what we have. But I'm here to tell you that's a myth. It's a story we've been told for so long that we started to believe it, and it's quietly stealing our vitality, our independence, and our joy. Aging is inevitable, yes, but feeling old, frail, and running out of steam long before our time, that is not a requirement. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We're going to walk through this together. And it starts with pulling back the curtain on what's really happening inside our bodies. It's not about some magical anti-aging potion or a brutal workout regime. It's about understanding the real, silent culprits that are often overlooked in our annual checkups. We're going to talk about the fuel we put in our tanks, the subtle ways our bodies change how they process that fuel, the incredible power of the most basic movement, the non-negotiable role of deep rest, and finally, the surprising connection between our social circles and our cellular health. These aren't just random tips. They're interconnected pieces of a puzzle, and when you see how they all fit together, it changes everything. So, let's start at the very beginning, with the most fundamental shift that often gets mistaken for just getting older. I want to talk about your engine. Imagine your body as a classic car, a beautiful, well-built machine designed to last for decades. But over time, if you start putting the wrong kind of fuel, or you let it sit in the garage for months on end, things start to change. The engine doesn't necessarily break. It just becomes less efficient. It might take a few more turns to start up on a cold morning. It might not have the same power on the hills, and it might guzzle more fuel to go the same distance. That's not the car breaking down. That's the engine losing its efficiency. And that is exactly what happens to us. It's a process called sarcopenia, and it's the slow, often invisible loss of muscle mass and strength that begins as early as our 30s and picks up speed every decade after. We don't always notice it at first. Maybe a jar lid is a little tougher to open. Maybe you feel a bit more unsteady on your feet on an uneven sidewalk. You might chalk it up to a bad night's sleep or just a passing thing. But it's not passing. This loss of metabolic tissue is your engine becoming less efficient. Muscle is metabolically active. It's what helps your body manage blood sugar. It's what supports your joints. It's what keeps your metabolism burning bright. When it dwindles, everything becomes harder. Your body has to work harder to do the same tasks, which leaves you feeling perpetually drained. It's the root of that "I have nothing left in the tank" feeling at the end of the day, even if you spend it mostly sitting down. We blame age, but what we're really feeling is the slow leak of our own power. And getting a handle on that difference is the first step to taking your power back. Because once you see it clearly, what you do next becomes so much more important. And what you do next Well, it all starts in the kitchen, doesn't it? Not with a strict diet or a list of forbidden foods, but with thinking of food in a completely new way. If our body is that classic car, then food isn't just calories. It's information. It's either construction material or it's inflammation. Every single bite we take is sending a message to ourselves, either telling them to build, repair, and thrive, or to become sluggish, inflamed, and store fat. For decades, we've been focused on diets that are about deprivation, counting calories, cutting out entire food groups, trying to win a battle of willpower that most of us are destined to lose. But when we understand that our engine is becoming less efficient, our approach to food has to change. It's not about eating less. It's about eating more of the right stuff. Think of it like this. Your body right now is desperately asking for high-quality building materials. It's not asking for a bland rice cake. It's asking for protein. It's asking for the amino acids to help rebuild that muscle tissue we just talked about. It's asking for colorful fruits and vegetables packed with antioxidants to fight off the cellular rust that inflammation causes. So a simple shift is to look at your plate and ask, where's my protein? Where is my color? Instead of a giant bowl of pasta with a tiny meatball, what if we flipped it? A generous portion of grilled chicken or fish, a beautiful pile of roasted broccoli and red peppers, and then a smaller, satisfying side of that whole grain pasta. You're not denying yourself. You're upgrading your fuel. You're giving your body the precise tools it needs to rebuild a more efficient engine. And when your engine is efficient, you have more energy. It's that simple. Now, fueling your body correctly gives you potential for energy, but to truly unlock it, we have to talk about motion. It might seem counterintuitive when you're tired. The last thing you feel like doing is moving, but that's the secret. We have to break the cycle of fatigue. I'm not talking about training for a marathon or spending hours in a noisy gym. I'm talking about movement that signals to your body that you are still very much in need of that muscle. It's about reminding your engine that it's built for running. The most powerful thing you can do is something we call resistance training. That sounds intimidating, but it's just a fancy term for working your muscles against a force. That force could be a light dumbbell, a resistance band, a bottle of water, or best of all, the weight of your own body. Something as simple as rising out of a chair deliberately and slowly without using your hands 10 times in a row. That's resistance training. Holding onto the counter and doing 10 gentle calf raises. That's resistance training. These tiny signals, sent consistently, are like a constant message to your body. Don't you dare take my muscle. I need it. I use it every single day. And your body listens. It responds by holding on to that precious metabolic tissue and even building a little more. This is how you directly combat that silent culprit we talked about. You're not just slowing the leak. You're actively turning the tap back on. It's amazing how this simple daily practice can change the rhythm of your entire day, making you feel stronger and more capable from the moment you get out of bed. And that rhythm leads us perfectly to something we often neglect, but is absolutely sacred. That's right, we're talking about rest. And I don't just mean sleep, though that's a huge piece of it. I'm talking about real, restorative rest, the kind that truly recharges your batteries. Because here's the thing. If the first two pieces are about building your energy capacity, this piece is about protecting it. You could be doing everything right with food and movement, but if you're constantly drained by stress and poor sleep, it's like trying to fill a bathtub with the plug pulled out. There's another silent culprit at work here, and it's a hormone called cortisol. It's our stress hormone, and in small doses, it's fine. It helps us get out of a jam. But when we live in a state of low-grade, constant worry or anxiety, our cortisol levels can stay slightly elevated all the time. And what does chronic cortisol do? It tells your body to break down muscle for energy. It encourages fat storage around the belly, and it utterly sabotages your sleep. This is why mastering your stress isn't a luxury. It's a critical part of the energy equation, and it starts with something as simple as your breath. When you feel that wave of overwhelm coming on, maybe after a frustrating phone call, or when you're worrying about tomorrow, just stop. Close your eyes if you can and take a slow, deep breath in for a count of 4. Hold it for a count of 4. And then exhale even more slowly for a count of 6. Do that just 3 times. This isn't just calming down. It's physiologically switching your nervous system from panic mode to peace mode. It tells your cortisol factory to take a break. Doing this a few times a day is like putting a shield around your hard-earned energy. And then there's sleep, not just the number of hours, but the quality. Deep, restorative sleep is when your body does its most important repair work. It's when it releases human growth hormone to fix muscles, when it clears out metabolic waste in the brain, and when it solidifies memories. To improve it, think about the hour before bed. Can it be a quiet time without the bright, stimulating lights of the TV or phone? Maybe it's a cup of caffeine-free tea, a few pages of a real book, or some soft music. Creating a gentle, predictable ritual tells your brain that it's safe to power down for the night. And when we're well rested and less stressed, we have the capacity for one of the most powerful energy sources of all, meaningful connection. This is the piece that often surprises people. We think of health as a physical thing, but loneliness might be one of the most toxic silent culprits of all. Studies show that chronic loneliness can be as damaging to our lifespan as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It creates a state of inflammation and stress in the body. But the flip side is also true. Genuine connection is medicine. It's not about having hundreds of friends. It's about having 1 or 2 real, meaningful conversations. It's about feeling seen, heard, and valued. That could be a weekly phone call with a grandchild, a coffee date with an old friend, or even joining a book club or a gardening group. That sense of belonging, of having a reason to get up and get dressed in the morning. It releases a cascade of feel-good hormones that counteract stress and literally give you a vitality boost. So these 5 pieces, understanding your energy, fuel, movement, rest, and connection, they all fit together like a beautiful puzzle. But a puzzle isn't finished until you put the last piece in place, and that's making it all work for your unique life. Now, bringing this all together might feel like a lot. You might be listening to this and thinking, how can I possibly focus on all 5 of these things at once? I can barely remember to take my vitamins. And my answer is, you absolutely shouldn't. Trying to change everything at once is a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and giving up. The secret is to start so small that it feels almost easy. I want you to think of one tiny thing. Just one. Maybe it's adding 1 extra handful of spinach to your lunch. Maybe it's doing those chair stands just once today while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. Maybe it's taking 1 minute before bed to just breathe deeply. That's it. Don't think about tomorrow or next week. Just do that one tiny thing today. And then tomorrow you do it again. Consistency trumps intensity every single time. And what about the obstacles? I know they're real. What if you don't like to cook? Well, let's make it simpler. A rotisserie chicken from the store and a bag of pre-washed salad is a perfect no-cook meal that covers protein and color. What if your knees are bad? Focus on what you can do. Seated leg extensions, arm exercises with light weights, even just moving your arms through a full range of motion while you sit and watch TV. It all counts. What if you live alone and the connection piece feels hard? Start small there. 2. Smile and have a 3-minute conversation with the cashier at the grocery store. That is a moment of connection. Call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. The goal isn't perfection, it's direction. It's gently steering your ship back toward vitality, 1 degree at a time. The most important thing you can do on a low energy day is not to give up, but to be kind to yourself. If you only have the energy for 1 chair stand, do 1. That is a victory. If you choose an apple over a cookie, celebrate that win. This journey is not a straight line up. It's a winding path with good days and not so good days. Your job is not to be perfect, but to simply return to the path again and again with compassion for yourself. You are rebuilding a foundation that may have been neglected for years. It will take time, but every single positive choice adds another brick. You have the map now. You know what to do, and more importantly, how to start. The final ingredient, the one that makes it all stick, isn't something you do, but something you believe. And that final ingredient is a story. A story you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. For so long, the story might have been, I'm getting old. This is just how it is. But what if you started to tell a new story? What if every time you chose to add protein to your plate, you said to yourself, I am someone who fuels my body well. Every time you did your 2 minutes of movement, you said, I am someone who values my strength. This shift in identity, from someone who is depriving themselves to someone who is caring for themselves, is everything. It transforms these actions from chores into acts of self-respect. It's about celebrating the small wins, because those small wins are proof of your new story. I want to tell you about a woman named Eleanor. Eleanor is 78, and for years, she accepted that her life would be defined by fatigue and afternoon naps. She saw her world getting smaller. Then she decided to change her story. She didn't do anything drastic. She started by buying a bag of frozen salmon burgers. Easy to cook. She had one for lunch a few times a week. Then she started parking a little further away from the supermarket door. A few weeks later, she bought a resistance band and kept it by her chair. Some days she used it. Some days she didn't, but she kept trying. She started calling her sister every Sunday without fail. It's been a year now. Eleanor hasn't run a marathon, but she's gardening again. She has the energy to play on the floor with her great-grandson. She told me, I didn't get younger. I just got more of me back. That is the feeling we're after. It's not about adding years to your life, but life to your years. It's about waking up feeling hopeful, having the vitality to enjoy your grandchildren, and pursuing that hobby you always put off. You can have that. It starts with one tiny step. So I'd love to know, which one of these 5 areas are you most excited to start with? Is it the food, the movement, the rest, the connection, or just shifting your mindset? Tell me in the comments below. Sharing your intention is a powerful way to make it real. If this conversation resonated with you, if it gave you a little spark of hope, please give this video a like. It helps me reach more wonderful people just like you who deserve to feel their best. And if you want to join me on this journey, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We're building a community here focused on vitality and joy, and I create new videos every week to help us all live our fullest lives. Remember, your best years aren't behind you. They're right here, waiting for you to claim them. You have the knowledge, you have the power, and you have a whole community cheering you on. Here's to your health, your happiness, and your incredible journey ahead. I'll see you in the next one. New chat